Go on then. Let's do this one. I just put a video out today where I was talking about conflict of interest, right? And you saw there, people don't understand conflict of interest. I've tried to explain it in like the most basic terms that I can. And for me, it's just like, look, it's like the Lena Doublelift thing. Yes, Doublelift plays for TSM. He wants TSM to succeed. Lena, the vice president of TSM, wants TSM to succeed. If you only look at that aspect of things, then they're all on the same side and there is no conflict of interest. If you throw in the fact that she has a personal relationship to him and then is responsible for signing his contract, now she serves two masters, essentially. First master is TSM. She is obliged to get Doublelift to sign a contract as cheap as possible for as long as it suits TSM. Maybe not even re-sign him at all if it doesn't help TSM. She has to do what's best for TSM as a vice president. Lena, the girlfriend, wants to give Doublelift the best contract, the most money, the longest contract. Definitely going to re-sign him at TSM. Definitely going to make an assessment he's the best thing for TSM. See, that is the conflict. How does the conflict occur? Because two interests are being served. I think it's super simple. I think it's a really simple concept to grasp. I don't know why people can't grasp it. Remember, the whole thing, by the way, remember that psychotic episode that the Rocket League community went into over me not being allowed to work at G2 was predicated on the fact that one of their, like, fucking analysts, by the way, not even one of the good ones, he's just like some shit washed pro or something. And, like, he gets invited, but he's fucking vanilla. But, like, Leaf X, or something he's called. Anyway, he was arguing that it wasn't a conflict of interest. I've just demonstrated super simple, easy terms how it is. Because he worked at a McDonald's or something one time. Or maybe an office. I can't remember which one it was, actually. And he said, I used to date one of my subordinates. And I never gave them preferential treatment. So it wasn't a conflict of interest. And I was like, when I was a trade union representative, old Richie, million jobs, when I was doing trade union work, one of the ways you would get slam dunk disciplinary action overthrown was if there was any potential like conflict of interest between parties in the disciplinary. And there was one case, right, where a girl had got fired. She got into an argument on the shop floor with another girl. Basically, they had an altercation. And the manager came over, pulled that girl in for an immediate disciplinary, and basically said, like, we cannot behave you like that. You're fired. And she appealed. Case got kicked to the shop steward. Me and another rep were looking at it. And one of the things when we interviewed the person who'd been fired, she said, the person only did it because they were dating the other girl I had an argument with. If that wasn't happening, we would have both just got warnings. And I went, oh, all right then. Thanks for your help. See you in a bit. Talked with the other rep. I'm like, well, this is a slam dunk. We just confront the cunt about are you dating that girl? If he is, this is tossed, like, immediately. And lo and behold, he went, yeah, we've just got into a relationship recently, but that would never impact on my managerials. Rip it up, you cunt, and fucking get that disclosed to your gaffer. So he had to go out, say, I am in a date and I have now fucked up a disciplinary and it looks really bad for the company. Guess what happened? Homegirl and homeboy got fucking separated. End of fucking discussion. Because that's how it has to work. This is not fucking rocket science. Like, it's so easy to grasp. I don't care if you had a pathetic bunk up round the bins on a smoke break at your McDonald's. The principle remains the same. And what I don't get about, like, why people can't grasp conflict of interest as a concept is, people go, well, yeah, okay, but it's not likely that anything will happen. Likelihood and possibility has got nothing, I mean nothing, zero, big fat zero, to do with any of it. The possibility is irrelevant. The mere existence of the possibility of a conflict of interest is why we call it conflict of interest. That is an abbreviation for possibility of conflict of interest. And that is why, if it's a conflict of interest in reality or in appearance, you must divulge, divest, declare, whatever. You know, it's super simple. It's just simple. And yet in esports, just don't fucking get it. Right. And so I'm going to get into, there was this cavalcade of shit takes the other day. I'm not going to chew Maui up, because Maui's my boy, and I think Maui was having a thought exercise moment, and it's fine. But man, so I already did a video on this. So by the time you're watching this video, you're gonna be like, didn't you already do a video on this? Yeah, I did. I'm old. I get to repeat myself, right? Whatever. But it relates to this. Fragadelphia 17. And just to show you the standings on HLTV, just so you can see what we're going on about, this was a $100,000 LAN event that just got finished. It's America. There's not a lot of LAN events in America. Fragadelphia have been on the come up. They've been getting better and bigger with each one. But at this event, they allowed 2 of EG's academy teams to attend. EGPA, PA for Planet Astronauts, they went on to eventually win it, and EGCD, which I don't even remember what that fucking stands for, but whatever. You can see that they literally were one game, compact discs, CD's nuts, Carpe Diem. Carpe Diem's the real one, isn't it? Yeah, it's all coming back to me now. Right, anyway, CD's nuts would have been good. You can see here the way it was worked out, and this is also irrelevant to the conflict of interest conundrum. They were like just one map away from playing each other, essentially. When this got announced that this was going to happen, they said, hey, weeks ago, we went to Fragadelphia and say we had a plan to enter both teams. Would that be okay? Because Fragadelphia has allowed multiple teams from multiple orgs in the past. And they said it was okay. Here's the issue. Fragadelphia, first and foremost, is a business. Fragadelphia is running a competition where people are, paying to go into. They've got sponsor commitments. They want the biggest orgs there. They want to make sure they hit their signups, have the best teams available for the most views to serve their sponsors. And so ultimately, what they've done is they've sacrificed competitive integrity, whether they want to admit it or not, so they can have a successful business tournament. And EG, maybe Fragadelphia didn't want to do it, but EG are a big swinging dick in the North American scene. Fuck with EG and don't give them what they want. Something bad might come around some other time. Like maybe you might want them to go to another event and they say, no, actually, we're going to boycott your events because you didn't give us a break this time around. It's very much one hand washes the other. And remember, the only reason Evil Geniuses needed to enter 2 teams into this competition in the first place is because they mismanaged their main team so bad they had to bring in 2 other teams, essentially all that was left in the North American wasteland of talent, to plug gaps in their top team and meet sponsor commitments should it be necessary and go to tournaments like this and do it on a budget. It's garbage. It's a garbage strategy. I saw again there was like an interview with like Valens or someone saying, we're going to build championship teams here at EG, or whatever it was. You're not. The end. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about competitive integrity and conflict of interest and blah, blah, blah. So, why is this a problem? Okay, well, you see, why is it a problem? I hope by now we can theoretically see all of the issues with having 2 teams controlled by the same people, again, I'll use that term again, the same masters at one event. But I'll just go over them so people get that we set the table, we're all on the same page. First and foremost, if 2 teams are owned by the same entity, that owner can inform those teams of who is the preferential team to win should they play each other, i.e. the strongest team, i.e. the most popular team, whatever metric it is. And because they are employed and beholden to these people, they would not be in a position of power to be able to refuse because it could impact negatively on their career. That's problem number 1. Problem number 2, imagine a world where it would actually help their better team, Party Astronauts in this case, get an easier opponent if they deliberately lost the group stage game, making a weaker opponent leapfrog into a position where Party Astronauts would play them. Now you can start rigging outcomes for one party, maybe even essentially guaranteeing a higher placement. That's problem number 2. Problem number 3. Obviously, if they were to play each other, you could then say, hey, listen, why don't we place bets on the games and fix the scores? Because, right, if you place a bet on a match to win, to lose, the odds aren't high. If you get the exact score, now it's super high. The only way you can do this type of fixing is if you have both parties on the same page, willing to throw rounds, willing to fuck up, willing to do stupid things. And generally what will happen is people will go, oh, well, of course they're not trying. They're playing their mates. They're just having fun. Grow up. And it's like, yeah, you're not thinking about the bets. And people have literally done this in ESEA, right? So, Problem number 3, you could literally agree to fix it 16-12, for example. And not only that, fuck fixing scores. I could just agree, hey, listen, let's play some bets. We win a map, you win a map, then we win overall because we're the better ones, yeah? And that money that we make from that, that'll go to you. So there's 4 examples of why this is a problem. And it's just super straightforward. If I can conceive of 4 examples like that, and that's before we get into anything deeper, right, as to why it's a problem, then obviously you cannot allow this tournament to go on. You can't allow any tournament. I'm not singling EG out, because I know there's been a lot of anti-EG videos on this channel, and people probably think I'm tunneling in on them. I already saw comments on the last video about conflict of interest saying, yo, what about Big and Big Academy? Yeah, it's all bad, guys. Like, trust me, I think it's all bad. I've been saying this for years, and this we'll get to. That's another reason why I'm pissed off about this new generation of bums giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. But let's just go into shit takesville, because there was some just unbelievable shit takes. Right, so let's just start with this. Kassad, obviously, is a guy that, you know, doesn't give a fuck, speaks his mind, right? And he pointed it out on Twitter. He said, there's nothing wrong with this, I guess, and took a picture of the thing. Striker immediately waded in. That's Striker from HLTV. And as we know from previous videos, HLTV don't understand conflict of interest, which should worry you. Because in CSGO, they're the biggest journalistic platform, and they don't understand conflict of interest. Or if they do understand it, they don't care about it. As you're going to see, he thinks words like integrity and conflict of interest, he says these things are buzzwords. They're not real, tangible principles. So considering these players pretty much fight to prove themselves to be good enough for the main team, and that's the understanding in the organisation as well, anything shady happening is really just a theoretical possibility. And it's like, the theoretical possibility is the issue. Yes. What you do is, because something's a theoretical possibility, you eliminate the possibility as it is theoretical, and therefore you can see it, you can foresee it. So you don't risk the worst happening, you eliminate the theoretical possibility. That is conflict of interest. And it's like, homie, please. But no, Kevin Hitt jumped in and replied, which is exactly called a conflict of interest in this situation. You see, conflict of interest rules are there to make sure hypothetical conflicts such as this one never happen, not after. And he goes, thanks, but I understand all that perfectly well, right? He understood conflict of interest the whole time, guys. I'm just of the opinion that at the level of a Fragadelphia event, it's historically been much more likely for teams without support to take advantage of bigger potential gains through result manipulation than through winning. Which, again, irrelevant. Let's continue. Kevin goes, yeah, that doesn't matter. And he goes, but if you look at the bigger picture and not just throw buzzwords around, it does, in reality. It does matter. The likelihood of foul play is, in my opinion, lower under these circumstances, not higher, but not zero. you will notice that, not zero. And I think this went on for some time, and he said, you still don't get it. And he said, clearly you don't get my point of view, so agree to disagree. Which, by the way, agree to disagree on what isn't a conflict of interest, and whether or not conflict of interest should be allowed to exist. For me, I just think this isn't agree to disagree. This is like you have what is objectively correct, and then the woolly, ephemeral nonsense in your mind, where you're like, yeah, but they would never do it. Remember, and I will come to this in a little soliloquy and once we've looked at all the shit takes, but remember, people told me to my face, I Buy Power would never throw. They told me that. Everybody told me that. I Buy Power told me that. All the fans told me that. Credible people in the scene told me that. Told me I was barking up the wrong tree. No one had ever fixed a game in Counter-Strike. Why would they risk it? They said. I think the chances of that happening are low. If you haven't been following the last 7 years, Let's be real. If you haven't been following the total history of CSGO, the worst always happens. Everyone is greedy, everyone is weak, everyone is spineless, everyone is money-oriented, no one cares about the game, no one cares about the scene, no one cares about the fans, and the people that do care about those things are pariahs and scum and get hounded out of the industry, or stick around for as long as they can take it before they go insane. That's CSGO. That's all it's ever been. Never far behind in the shit take factory. Ryan at Dust2 Media, formerly Ryan at Rush B, he said, as everyone knows, the heavily criticised EG organisation will very publicly make sure that one of their team throws on stage in front of thousands of people in a watchful community during NA's biggest and most historic LAN. The conflict of interest is declared. Everyone knows there is a conflict of interest. In the minds of the tournament organisers and the majority of the NA community, the players are of such high integrity that such a conflict is a non-issue. Now again, I'm not going to name names, I'm not going to get into this, but some of those players, by the way, have played with known and established match fixers. I'm not saying they knew that the games that those guys were playing in were fixed at the time or anything like that, but everyone talks, all the rumours talk, all the NA scene talks, all the players talk, all the rumours are out there, and you know what I mean? I've seen people, after people were accused, credibly accused, with video evidence and everything else, and then just like jump into a team with them, or jump into a mix with them and all that, and everyone's just like, yeah, it's okay, it's just another day in NA. But forget that, right? Forget that. That is a very minor point. We don't even need to explore any of that bullshit to talk about this. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether or not you think something is likely or not. It doesn't matter. You eliminate the possibility because on a long enough time scale, that possibility means someone will do it, and then we're all sat around scratching our ass for the millionth time in esports going, yeah, shit, if only we could have seen that coming. We totally could. We totally can. It should have been stopped. Then, after that, because they lost and therefore didn't have to play each other, still irrelevant within the concept of how they could manipulate a tournament potentially. Striker wanted to be like passive-aggressive and cocky, because this is the thing, these two guys think they're fucking clever. Reminder, by the way, when Ryan was streaming the RMRs for North America, he said on a broadcast he didn't like Jason Lake because he was shilling for crypto. And so I went and pulled up examples of Ryan having tweeted about crypto, right? And posted them in the Twitch chat going, come on, homie, don't do Jason Lake, an absolute legend of the scene, dirty like that. And he fucking ignored me, didn't respond to it, and the admin was like too scared to fucking ban me and kick me out the channel. It's like, bro, like, come on, start being real, motherfucker. So anyway, Striker, here's a thought. Remember, this is the guy who went to bat for like fucking Astralis recently, saying, well, so what if they still work with Hunden? So what if cheaters keep getting their jobs recycled? I've never got agitated about any other org, but now you've said it about Astralis. Oh, by the way, did I mention that we had a working relationship with them for about a year that we never fucking disclosed? Or rather, a working relationship with one of their board members who actually invested in them and invested in us, and we didn't disclose it until Thorin and Richard brought it up on their podcast, and even then it took us months to put a disclosure on there, and during that time we interviewed them specifically to discredit reporting Richard Lewis did. I am the master of conflict of interest. Like, fuck me, homie, come on, you can't be this stupid, it has to be a work. This is like some AEW shit. Anyway, here's a thought. What if EG told the CD team to lose, so all the conflict of interest talk stops? By the way, the fact that you can joke about that, just another example of why you can't have conflict of interest. Like, legitimately, seriously. Yeah, that is, out of all of the examples, the wildest, the most outside. Still a possibility in esports, by the way. And then Ryan goes, yeah, they did. I was here. I overheard the management say, hey, you're on stage and everyone on Twitter is talking about conflict of interest. I know we already cleared it with the organisers weeks ago, but we should really listen to them, bringing it up hours before the game. And then he laughed, like that thing that sits at the end of Jabba's fucking toes. Or he doesn't have toes. Tail. Right? We're the future of the scene. Right? Well done, you've owned it. You've absolutely owned it, mate. Just to show you as well, wasn't even the worst dog shit take I saw, if you can get your head around that. There was this from another journalist. Also, no offence, it's just Fragadelphia. Which major organisation would match fix in Fragadelphia? As if that's worth the effort. There you go, guys. In his mind, the mind of Nicholas Grabber. He's a grabber. Nicholas Grabber, no relation to Willie. The only match fixing in his mind goes on at the highest level, when of course it's the other way around. Like, everything below the highest level is compromised and corrupt. In fact, you would be way more likely to match fix at Fragadelphia than you would be, I don't know, like a major qualifier. Except that one in the CIS region. Shout out to Akuma one time. So that was ridiculous. And then Maui Snake, bless him, gave his opinion. He joined the terrible take machine, but I won't light him up. Yet to read an argument against EG having two teams in Fragadelphia being bad that goes any deeper than using the term conflict of interest or integrity without any further explanation. Saying a buzz phrase doesn't mean it's applicable nor appropriate. Please at me any reasoning. Now, I had to laugh, because obviously that is a dog shit tweet, right? And I love him. Like, fuck it. I ain't gonna renounce him. I ain't gonna tell no lies for my friends neither. Like, there was this fucking comment. I've gotta find it. Here it is. This comment was unreal. It got it voted to the third highest, and it was by a user called Trample Hawker. It's so good. I'm not bringing it up. You can check for yourself. And he said, "Nobody can explain to me why eating my own shit is bad, other than using the terms bacteria and flavour without any further explanation. Can anyone please at me with why I shouldn't feast on my own logs?" That's the kind of fucking Reddit comment I can get along with. Well done. Well done. You're my kind of Redditor. Was it one of Richard Lewis's burners? Was it me? Am I being meta right now? You'll never know. You'll never know. But good for him. Anyway, Maui goes on. A possible scenario here would be match fixing, as EG higher-ups pressure players to satisfy bets, props to cash out on controlling the outcome of this match. What betting sites should never do is allow betting on a game with two teams of the same org. Also, this is just so unlikely. So again, likelihood irrelevant. And I do agree. Like, if two teams from the same org ever play each other and that action's on a bookmaker, then it's really bad, obviously. But does it happen? Yes. Yes. All of the problems we have in the scene emanate from the fact someone somewhere who runs the bookies will put on these absolute dog shit matches that have no business being like on a sports book. So anyway, yeah, this was the other one. More striker, just to fucking top you off with the insanity. Casad came in and said it's like saying Barcelona B can play in La Liga with Barcelona. I think this is the example I used in my video, actually, so I don't know if Casad watched it or whether just great minds think alike. But he said it's like saying Barca B can play in La Liga with Barcelona, and that's okay because B team players want to prove themselves and probably won't throw if A team needs the points. And obviously La Liga does not allow this. Barcelona has a team that plays in the, I think it's called the Segunda, what is it, like Primera and Segunda division. They can never, even if they win that league, they can never be promoted. That's the agreement, because they can never play in the same league as Barcelona. My understanding is as well how it would work if Barcelona ever got relegated. The other team would have to be removed from that league. So that's how it works. So anyway, he says, you really want to bring up top tier competition to argue this case? And then he says, I mean, again, just a stupid retort. And then it says level of competition is besides the point. And then, this is mad, right? I think it's a key factor because stakes are what matters in the likelihood of foul play even being considered. How exactly does a Fragadelphia event matter enough for EG to even entertain the thought? To what end would an organisation worth tens of millions ever put themselves at risk in an event that is virtually worth nothing to them other than getting their team experience? Here's a fucking thought. What if the org wasn't consulted and the players agreed to do it? I know it's mad. I know it's mad to wrap your head around that occasionally players do things orgs are not privy to. Psychopathic thinking from a fucking guy who knows nothing, obviously. But yeah, the players couldn't conspire or collude, could they? No, we can only think about, like, what are you fucking talking? Like, how can you be this brainless? Like, it has to be malicious at this point. You cannot be a functioning adult and be this, like, cognitively deficient. I agree. Conflict of interest is reason for concern as a concept in general. I just think people should be more realistic about when that concern is warranted and not just throw the word around to express outrage when nothing tangible is happening. And obviously, 99% of the time with corruption cases, we never know if it's happening or not. So the reason why it's annoying to see so many shit takes is because these people are the new generation that are going to run the scene. I'm the old washed guy. I'm the guy who was fighting these battles in 2015, 2016 onwards, still fighting them to this day. But now I have to share the fucking stage, don't I, with all the new people coming in. And these new people are like, whether it's malicious or just because they don't realize they're naive, they're saying things like, no, it'll be okay. You can trust these players. You can't. Our scene is irredeemably compromised right now. It is corrupt to the fucking core. There is match fixing everywhere. Tier 2 downwards. Everybody is at it, and there are no punishments for doing so. And the one body that looked to be able to punish people was ESIC, and they've completely and utterly failed at this point as a concept. Maybe that'll change. Maybe they can get back some glory, but increasingly people are disillusioned with them, and people need to believe in them for them to have any authority to do anything. Valve are not going to get involved. Valve could have caught everybody back in 2013, 2014, back when all the skins gambling was starting. They didn't want to do it. No one wants to do it. So the only way you can prevent the scene from becoming even more corrupt than it is to rigidly enforce conflict of interest, to not let people have the potential to exploit stuff. And I was the guy. Remember when Nicola Nyholm wanted to own all the teams, and he wanted to own Godsent, and he wanted to own Astralis, and he wanted to own Heroic, and that Norse one that I always forget the name of. It might have just been Norse. And they all wanted to be in a little league with each other, and they all wanted to own all the IP, and it was all being run by Refresh, who were just a talent agency, wink, wink. And those guys were going to go to tournaments and play each other. And at that point, you may as well just make esports WWE, because one tap on the shoulder from the money men, and the games, can be changed to be whatever the fuck they want them to be. And so, guess who got the contracts? And guess who did the reporting? And guess who fucking exposed them? And guess who got them to disclose it? And guess who got tournament organisers to say, well, you can't do that, you need to divest yourself? Guess who got Valve to fucking get on that shit and start having it? It was all me. I fought tooth and nail for all of this shit for fucking years. I stopped the academy team bullshit. I stopped multiple team ownership. I was out there saying, hey, why does Taco get to own a piece of a fucking team he's playing? Why do the Danish people get to fucking own a team and then play against them in the majors? And Valve made rules about that. And ever since 2018, 2019, there's been this massive backslide, and now dickheads like Ryan and Striker, and as I said, I'm not even going to ascribe malice to them. You would think it is because it's so stupid, but these dickheads say things like, yeah, but DNA scene really needs these guys to get good. Competitive integrity is not, like, we're not beholden to one country's fortunes in the game. If that's the case, let's fix a bunch of matches so we can get a UK team. Let's fix a bunch of matches so we can get the French teams back and being strong in time for the major. It'll make for a much better story, right? If integrity doesn't matter and we can just surrender it to help out the God bless America, then let's just fucking do it. No, these rationalizations are absolutely fucking insane. They're absolutely ridiculous. And you've noticed it. Academy teams playing against each other in the same league. Academy teams potentially going into RMR. Undisclosed multiple ownerships, overlapping sponsors and financial ties. What about the disclosure? Have the players sold off their shares of the orgs that they owed? We don't know. No one's talking about it anymore. No one's talking about it anymore because the first line of defense, the fucking journalists, do not care. They do not care. They either can't understand it or don't care. Here's what they want to do. They don't want to fight the battle to make sure that your games, the fans, your games are clean and trustworthy, right? They don't want to fight that battle. You know what they want to fight the battle for? They want to get free hoodies. They want to get free t-shirts. They want to get free invites to the events. They want interviews and insider gossip and leaks for their websites. They don't give a fuck about any of the big stuff. They don't give a fuck about it. They would turn all of esports into WWE tomorrow as long as they were the fucking kings of it, as long as they got to sit next to the Vince McMahons. They do not care about it. And yet you love these people. You love you guys. So I'm telling you, if you're going to let those people drive the discourse and we're just going to start ignoring conflict of interest, then the real corruption, the corruption that is permeated through fucking Tier 2 and Tier 3 and all the grassroots and collegiate, it's going to creep back into Tier 1. Because there ain't no watches on the wall anymore, if that's your best. So, hopefully, for the last and final fucking time, that explains conflict of interest to the fucking morons in this business that think it's just something you can trade away. And if you don't get it by now, fuck it. Like I said, we'll WWE it. I don't care.
He's the man to do the damage. Oh! As he looks for another headshot.